This past weekend, I DJ'd at a wedding alongside with a band, and let me tell you, there's a lot of things that I wish I prepped for. So in this video, we're gonna be breaking down what it's really like to DJ with a band, the challenges that come with it, and most importantly, how you can be better prepared if you ever find yourself in this situation. And trust me, there were a ton of things that I wish I knew beforehand. So let's get into it. So this wedding had a lot of traveling involved. We're based in Dallas, Texas, and this wedding was all the way in San Antonio.
Remember the Alamo!
So that morning, I grabbed all of our gear and we were on the road at 8 a.m. to make the 4-hour drive. We had to make one pit stop first. We're actually in the middle of nowhere right now in Temple, Texas. We are on our way to the wedding in San Antonio, but we had to make a quick stop to Buc-ee's because of course, Texas things. We got my boy Jay with me today. We got our trailer over here. All of our gear's loaded up. We're gonna get moving. We got about 2 more hours left and we're gonna get this wedding started. So let's get on the road. Let's do it. So today's wedding is gonna be a little bit different. We're not just DJing a wedding like we normally do. We're actually playing alongside a band. And so instead of, the band playing and then we, maybe we do the after party, which I know a lot of DJs do, we're playing like in between each band set. So the band's gonna play for about an hour, then we're gonna play for an hour. The band's gonna come back and play for an hour. We're gonna play for an hour. We're gonna play the last hour set while the band is breaking down. So we can't plug in our equipment into their speakers. So we're gonna have our own speakers and all those things too. So it's definitely gonna be a super unique event. And we're actually kind of tag teaming the MC work too. They're gonna be introducing the couple into the room and doing their first dance. I'll be taking care of the stuff like the toasts and the cake cutting, bouquet toss and stuff like that. So we're gonna need to coordinate with the band super heavily to make sure everything kind of flows together. All right guys, we are finally here at the venue. It's a kind of long walk, but that's the hotel. It's the Hotel Emma here in San Antonio. We got a big ass truck right behind us, but we got all of our gear in the trailer ready to go. We're just gonna go ahead and unload all the stuff, get it inside the venue, and then start setting it up and getting this wedding going. Let's do it, let's go. Now this hotel was right off the San Antonio River. Super nice place, super rustic. It had lots of charm. But since it was a pretty busy hotel, we couldn't just pull up to the front and unload all our gear. There was just too much going on. So we had to park super far away and haul all of our gear across this super sketchy bridge. Not exactly the smoothest start to the day, but we made it work. Going into this wedding, I already met with the couple and the planner a few times beforehand. We went over everything like the music they wanted, the timeline, and even things like the floor plan for the night. So before I even got to the venue, I had a pretty solid idea of where the DJ booth was supposed to go, which was super important since this was my first time ever playing at this hotel. Now, originally the couple wanted my DJ booth right next to the stage. Literally right up against it. And from my experience of working with bands, I knew this was not gonna work. Bands need a ton of space, not just on the stage, but also around it for their speakers, their audio equipment, even things like lighting and a place for their sound tech to be stationed. Plus, since we needed our own speakers for the last hour of the night, because the band was gonna break down after 11 o'clock and we played till midnight, we had to have everything that we needed set up before the wedding even started. So we came up with a plan to set up the DJ booth off to the side in front of the patio doors. This way we were still on the dance floor and we weren't in the band's way during the night. All right guys, so we are inside of the venue right now. This is gonna be the reception space that we have for today. They got a nice little dance floor over here. And then this is gonna be where our band is gonna be all set up and ready to go for the wedding. And we're gonna be kind of off to the side in front of this door right over here, which I think is gonna be a great option for us because for today's wedding, it's not just me playing the after party, the band's playing the main party. We're kind of jumping around different parts of the night. So having our own setup will be super nice. And we can kind of control the audio in our own way for our music for tonight. But Jay's getting ready to get things all set up. Let me go help him out and get this thing going. Let's do it. So we got all of our gear set up and everything was good to go. We just needed to do a sound check. Now bands usually have a ton of members and each one needs to do a sound check individually. You got a sax player, you got drummers, singers, keyboard, all the members need to do a sound check individually. And honestly, this could take forever. And since we're using new speakers, I needed to spend some extra time on the EQ to prevent feedback on the microphone. And because the QSEs have such a wide horizontal range, I was getting some nasty feedback on my mic. I knew it was gonna take a minute to get the EQ dialed in just right. So I just hung out the booth and waited for the band to be all done with their sound check before I could do mine. Eventually we got our sound check done and everything was working great. We did the ceremony, we played music for cocktail hour. The wedding was going pretty smooth so far. Now, like I said before, we already had a game plan for how the band versus DJ thing was gonna go. The band was basically gonna do all the MC work, and really I was only going to DJ during my 2 sets for the party. At least that's what I thought. All right guys, so change of plans. The guests are making their way to the reception right now, and I was talking to the band before. Originally they were gonna do the introductions and the first dance, obviously, but when I talked to the lead singer of the band, he didn't seem super confident, and he's like, do you wanna do it? Do you wanna do it? So I'm gonna end up doing the introductions as they come into the room and then introduce their first dance, and then the band's just gonna play the song. So that's gonna be what we're gonna do today. Hopefully it'll work out. Hopefully the band will get the right cue. Right when I say it's time for their first dance, they play the song and it just goes seamlessly. So hopefully that works. Fingers crossed. Let's do it. Well, good evening, friends and family. Welcome to the Hotel Emma, but more importantly, welcome to Alan and Megan's wedding reception. Now, tonight is sure to be one of the best weddings that you have ever been to, because every single person in this room tonight was hand-picked to be here to celebrate with Alan and Megan. You guys ready to celebrate with them? Well, friends and family, let's make some noise for the reason that we are here tonight, Dr. and Mrs. Alan Wall! Friends and family, go ahead and find your seats as Alan and Megan are about to share their first dance as husband and wife. All right guys, so the guests are having dinner right now. Let me show you what we have for our music today. And honestly, they didn't give me a ton of music to work with. None of these are must-play songs at all. Just a handful of songs that they want to party to. We got Chumbawamba over here. We got Ice Ice Baby. And the bride is actually a parade dancer at Disney World, so we got a couple Disney songs that we're gonna play as well. Even things like Sandstorm, which is super random. So super wide open playlist for tonight's wedding. And we'll basically bounce around between me and the bands and just kind of see how we're feeling, you know, because they want a couple like slow country songs here and there, some disco, some pop, hip hop, all this kind of thing. So honestly, when it comes to the music, I think it's just gonna be free reign. So we'll see how it goes. Band's up first. Let's see how they do. Let's go. When it was time to start the party, I jumped on the mic and invited all the guests to the dance floor. I introduced the band and the party starts right away. One thing I noticed immediately is that the band didn't have any lighting for the party. So I grabbed my tubes and put them around the dance floor to add just a little bit of color during the party. And since I'm using Sound Switch, I was able to have the lights bounce through different modes as long as I had a track playing on my DJ booth. So basically I just had my right deck literally playing nothing the entire time. This wedding only had about 80 guests, which isn't a ton of people to have. Usually you can count on 30% of your people to be hardcore dancers, and you can add more people to that number if you play the right songs and the vibe is just right. Now don't get me wrong, the band was great. They were playing the right songs, they were engaging, but after 20 minutes the crowd started to dwindle. And I don't think it was the band's fault. There was just a lot of things going on at this wedding. They had a super nice patio where people could hang out at. They had caricature artists in the lobby drawing pictures of all the guests. And probably the biggest issue I saw was that the bar was super far away from the dance floor. They had 2 bars, one in the lobby and one on the patio. There was no bar anywhere near the dance floor, which is kind of a shame, and I'm not sure why wedding planners do this. If you have a couple that's spending thousands and thousands of dollars on entertainment and you put the bar in a completely different room, you're literally doing your clients a disservice and making people spend less time with the entertainment. I don't know, that's just my thoughts. You could tell me if I'm wrong in the comments. Anyways, the band was still playing, and over time, the dance floor starts getting more and more empty, and I'm getting a little nervous, to be honest with you. I gotta basically restart this whole party in 20 minutes with half the guests sitting at the tables and the other half not even in the room. So at the last minute, I grabbed my extra wireless speaker and I put it on the patio. That way, when I started DJing, the people outside might hear their favorite song and come inside to dance. And it worked. Brought the party back to life, and I was feeling pretty good about it. I knew now that this crowd wanted to party, but maybe a band wasn't the right style for them. But either way, my set was coming to an end, and it was time for the band to take over. Let's just hope this time things will be different.
They say I'm blessed, but I don't give a damn. Getting girls is how I live.
Nope, it wasn't different. We've already been through this before. I knew we can bring the party back to life. Because most of the guests were still at the wedding. They just weren't in the room. And I honestly think it came down to how the venue was laid out. There was just too many places for the guests to go that wasn't near the dance floor. And I think the fact that the band's music couldn't reach those parts of the venue really hurt their ability to pull people back in. While the band was playing, I was also keeping track of every song that they played. So if they played something like Uptown Funk, I added it to a separate crate in my Serato and marked it as played. That way I wasn't playing the same songs that they were. Now, there were pockets during their set that people weren't even in the room for, and I purposefully didn't mark those songs because, like, no one heard them played anyways. And if it was a good song, I'm gonna play it. Finally, the band was wrapping up and actually had a decent amount of people on the dance floor at that time. So here's my chance to close the party strong. For the last hour of the party, I could tell that they wanted to rage. As soon as I played one EDM drop, they were all about it. So we kept it going. looking back at this wedding, I know I could have done things a little differently. First off, let me just tell you that the couple was super laid back. They didn't give me any must-play songs or anything like that. Just a few songs here and there that they really liked. Also, the wedding planner basically was in charge of all the details for this wedding. The bride was super go with the flow, and the planner basically made all the judgment calls when it came to things like the floor plan, the timeline, and overall how the event flowed. And I should have used this opportunity as a way to recommend putting the bar near the dance floor. Whether or not they would have went for it, at least I could have tried and helped make the party better. Because I think this would have made a huge impact overall, especially for the band. I think I also could have been a little more cooperative when it came to the band. I could have reached out to them weeks in advance and asked them about their set list. Or I could have even reached out a week or two before and worked with them on how the emceeing situation was gonna go. There was just a few things that I honestly could have done differently. Overall, the wedding went great and the couple was super happy with how everything went. And at the end of the day, that's really all that matters. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Have you ever had to DJ alongside a band before? And as always, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one.